I'm Sandy Baird. I'm so glad to see you back. This time I'm going to be talking about the comprehensive evaluation. This is probably the first step I always recommend when I start working with the practice because it's critical. Before I can give anybody any recommendations, I need to know your practice. Every practice is unique depending on location, on layout of the building, of team members, dentist personality, focus of the practice. There's so many variables that make your practice unique. And for me to try to give you recommendations without understanding those variables is a shot in the dark as far as I'm concerned. So one of my first recommendations is this practice evaluation, comprehensive practice evaluation. It entails a lot of gathering of data. And from that data is where I can make recommendations. So I'm going to go through the different analyses that I do in this comprehensive evaluation to help you understand the value of this process. So one of the very first things I do is what's called a SWOT analysis. Having been to business school, one of the key tools that we were taught to analyze business was the SWOT analysis, which stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So my very first step is usually to sit down with the doctor, owner, and any other person that owner and doctor wants to involve in this process. Sit down with them and then sit down with each of the team members, eyeball to eyeball, for at least an hour and ask them questions that will allow them to give me some insights into the strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities, and the threats of the practice. Particularly with my doctors and my owners, of course, I'm going to spend extra time because the most important thing is to find out your goals. What are your goals? What do you want me to help make happen in your practice? I'm not going to work on my goals. I'm working on your goals. I'm not working on my success. I'm working on your success for your practice. So that's the first thing I really need to get a handle on. What are your goals? What would you like to be the results of this partnership that we're considering? And then I'll ask you some strengths and weaknesses and opportunities and threat questions, but then I sit down with each of your team members and try to get a relationship going, try to give them an opportunity to share their ideas, what their perspective is on the practice. Their perspective is critical, it's important, and it's always a little different from the doctor's, which is of the utmost importance. So spending an hour with them, going over questions face to face, and getting them engaged in this process is of the essence. But then, of course, I do a fee analysis. I do a scheduling analysis. I go into your software and get all of your monitors and report data, organize it, compare it to industry benchmarks, see where you stand as compared to industry benchmarks, best practices. I also analyze I do an overhead analysis as well as a cash flow analysis to kind of get an idea of your financial responsibilities. I come into your office for about a half a day at least and observe, watch it in motion, how the communication is going, how the interaction with the patient's going, the flow of the practice as far as sterilization, and all kinds of instrumentation, and just kind of listen to what's happening. I mean, I'm not a clinical consultant, I'm a practice management consultant, but that communication is all entwined in chemical and is critical on every level. I also analyze your online presence, your website, your social media presence, and what your goals are for those particular types of presence. And so also do a salary analysis for your employees to kind of see where that stands. So from all these different analyses, I get a lot of data. I get a feel for the culture of your practice. how your practice works. And from that, I can make recommendations to reach your goals, to help you reach your goals. At the end, usually the practice evaluation is about 2 months long, so it's a very short-term partnership that we have there. Gives us a chance to kind of feel out each other's personalities, know if this is what we want to do or not want to do. If our combination is going to be beneficial or not beneficial. So it's kind of a test run, but most important, it gives me information to give you good recommendations. At the end of that point of the comprehensive practice evaluation, that's when you and I will sit down for about a half a day, eyeball to eyeball, and go over the data, the analysis, and the recommendations, and how it can help you reach your goals.